We're going to discover together all the different aspects of this journey, all the way from Milan to Bhopal, which is my hometown. And this is going to be a long video, guys. So please bear with me, have patience, and continue watching. Good morning, international students and expatriates. Welcome to my channel Good Morning Expat, and today's video is about traveling during the COVID-19 crisis, a topic that concerns all the expatriates and international students given the current crisis situation. So like any other expatriate or international student, I also have two homes, one in Italy and another one in India, and I travel back and forth frequently. But of course, this was true in the pre-COVID era when I used to travel for at least 4 to 5 times a year between the two countries. Now, of course, given the current crisis situation, all the travel barriers in place, it has become way more complicated given all the checks, formalities, and tests to be undertaken. But despite everything, I planned and embarked on this journey from Milan in Italy, which is where I live, all the way to Bhopal in India, which is where my family is based. So if you would like to explore all the steps of this trip during this difficult situation of the COVID-19 crisis, please continue watching this video. So of course this trip wasn't like one in the pre-COVID era where you could simply book a ticket online and take the flight the next day, and it was as simple as that. This trip in fact involved a lot of pre-work. And the pre-work in question started with, as you can imagine, taking a COVID-19 test. I had to get a negative RT-PCR test done within 96 hours of my flight. So I looked up online, and the only test facility offering the possibility to do a test without appointment was Multimedica in Milan. So I went there first thing in the morning on 2nd of November, and after 5 hours of queuing up and waiting, I could finally get the test done, and the result was promised in 48 hours, and it did come in about 55 to 60 hours, so not that bad given how overwhelmed the test centers are. If you're interested in exploring what it is like to travel in the current COVID-19 crisis situation, continue watching this video that documents my entire journey from Milan, Italy to Bhopal in India, and of course in an uncut version. Well, after having obtained the COVID-19 certificate, fortunately, and thank God, the negative test certificate, I finally begin my journey to India, and it starts here in the Milano Linate airport, which is one of the second, it's the second biggest airport in the city of Milan, only next to the Malpensa airport. And I'm actually flying to Rome from here because my onward flight to New Delhi with Air India is from Rome. So I have about 1 hour left still to go for the flight to Rome, and I just checked in my bag, and it was quite seamless because there's hardly anybody here at the airport. It's quite a peak time as far as the level of infections are concerned also in Milan, but thankfully I am getting to travel, but it doesn't feel very unsafe because the airport is not very crowded, so it's very much possible to maintain social distancing, and I don't feel unsafe right now. I just passed security, and basically the airport is completely empty, and well, the good news is that now miraculously you can actually carry water bottles on board. So that's the best thing. So they have this fancy machine where they take in your liquids, which are more than 100 ml, and they test it for security. If it passes, you can carry them. So it's fantastic. You can carry your own water, carry your own shampoos, carry anything on board. So that's good news. So the first leg of this journey begins now, and let's get started. Honestly, I'm quite nervous, and let's see how it goes, but hopefully everything should be fine. So I landed in the Rome Fiumicino airport a while ago, and just did some light cleaning of my hands and face, and now I'm sitting over here to have lunch because it's lunchtime. It's 1:30. My flight departed at 12 o'clock and it took an hour, less than an hour, and now I'm here just using the time to have lunch until my next flight. In fact, it's at 8 o'clock, so the check-in is not going to open soon. It's going to open only at 5, so a couple of hours to use. So of course the best use of time is to eat. And now I'm just walking towards the international terminal to try to make an attempt to get the baggage delivered for my flight to Delhi. Although, like I said, it's way too early because it's at 8 o'clock. It's not even 2 over here. But I'm going to make a try. Who knows? So after having passed and survived at least 5 different checks, starting from the check by the authorities handling the Air Suvidha procedure, which is a procedure to request exemption from the institutional quarantine at Delhi, then over to, of course, the self-declaration authorities from India, the self-declaration authorities from Italy, then of course security and immigration. So I've survived all these 5 checks and I've finally come to the gate where I have to board my flight to Delhi from Rome. This is the flight on the Vande Bharat Mission, and which are these special projects being undertaken by national carriers of many different countries, including Air India. And so it was quite a good opportunity to take this flight, which goes directly from Rome to Delhi, and I took advantage of it. And now here I am. So it was an entire day here at the Rome airport because my flight from Milan, which is where I am based, was in the morning. And then I spent almost the entire day over here. Now 7-8 hours have passed. It's almost 8 o'clock. We're about to board for this flight for Delhi, which will reach New Delhi at 8 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. and it's packed with people, so it's supposed to be full, but of course the authorities are ensuring that all the sanitization and hygiene measures are adhered to and everyone is safe and sound. And I would like to compliment them for managing and handling this humongous project of carrying so many people between different countries in this extremely difficult situation of COVID-19 crisis. And they're doing a magnanimous and a job that must be appreciated, so hats off to them. And we as responsible citizens should cooperate with them as much as possible, which is what I'm doing, wearing the mask all the time and ensuring that I fulfill all the procedures. I highly recommend you to do the same. And well, on that note, it was a long day at the Rome airport, which by the way is extremely beautiful. And we will meet, God willing, tomorrow in Rome. So after a 7-hour long flight and quite a packed one, I could finally land in Delhi. So this is the New Delhi International Airport, one of the best in the world, and we have made it, guys. So let's see what's the adventure that's awaiting us now. From here on, perhaps the real adventure begins now. Let's get started. So this was quite easier than I expected, way more easier than I expected, because there were only two demarcations. So if you already had the pre-approval of the exemption from institutional quarantine offered by the Air Suvidha service, the queue was really small and everything went really seamless. So they just check the self-registration form to identify you and the copy of the approval that you got from the Delhi government. And once you had that, I had that on my mobile, so you can show even a soft copy, even a printout is not needed. And I showed that, and then I could really pass directly over to immigration. And immigration was quick as well, because the number of passengers overall is quite low right now, and therefore that was easy peasy as well. And the formalities at the immigration were the usual formalities that happen all the time when you enter India. And so it was much quicker than I expected, actually. So there are basically 3 steps. Once you land, just outside the gate there are the authorities table to check what is the status of your exemption. If you do have an approval already obtained online, then you can pass through easily. If you don't have one, then you are sent to another channel where further checks will be done. In my case, luckily it was the former, so I could pass really quickly and then over to immigration, and I'm already outside now waiting for my luggage now. And now finally at the airport of my city, after a trip of more than 24 hours and passing through hundreds of checks, but I could finally make it. And now I'm going home, going to take a big shower and take rest. And this was the first leg of this journey, and later on we will also see what are the adventures coming up on the way back to Milan?